Hello, I'm Dr. Anand, a retired family doctor in England. I was born in India and I came here for higher studies and a better life. I found that it was better for me because I was new to work in the community, to live amongst the people, not be in a hospital. That was my path. And I chose that because I really enjoy human being and human behavior, including my own. So I had 2,500 patients, people who knew me, who would see me in my clinic, who would see me shopping, just like another person. Not I'm very special, I'm a hospital doctor kind of thing. And it was a lifelong relationship which I truly enjoyed. I delved into psychology, I did a degree in counseling, I looked at the human brain, I studied that. I did a lot with heart rate variability. I had machines to measure that. I still have one. I had a machine to measure called a mind mirror. It actually plotted the brain's graph of a healthy brain, not the EEG of the hospital. And by studying all this and looking at yoga and talking to yoga teachers, I found my own way of healing myself. And I thought, no, I'll do something for the people who also come from the subcontinent and other people at large. And my topic is Unleashing Your Inner Power with Dr. Anand. The series I'm doing, I have many topics to give you. But why the first topic of negativity? Why be so negative right in the beginning, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. One day I was reading the newspaper and I found that many of the suicides disproportionate to the population were the Asian young men. And I was quite perturbed by this. There's a beautiful bridge called Tyne Bridge, and there's a particular point where young men, frustrated, unhappy with their families and whatever, jump off and kill themselves successfully. And that is the time I thought, why can't I do something about it? I've got all this knowledge of the brain, the heart, medical. I've got access to library. I know professors. I know the people here. Why shouldn't I do it? I thought it's wrong if I didn't grab the topic of negativity. I'm now going to share with you some physiology, some way how the heart and the brain and some common themes that are not very popular. Let's look at the heart, for instance. As you know, when you run up the stairs and run down the stairs, your heart should match. If you run up the stairs, your heart should race, and when you stop, it should quickly come down to normal heartbeat. In a child, that happens. In a young adult, that happens. But once you are over 25, there's a lag. The heart takes time to get into speed, and the heart takes time to get out of speed. So there's a lag. That's one thing. Secondly, with every single in-breath, every time you go, your heart speeds up a little. And with every out-breath, so the heart rate is never good when it's boom, 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 boom. That's not a good heart rate. Please listen to me. You have to study heart rate variability. The heart should go boom, 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 boom. That is a good heart rate where the waves are very smooth. Now you can do this by doing yoga, and I'll teach you a method later on, just with breathing, where you can control this. That's the heart done. Let's look at the brain. The brain has three parts. The oldest part is called the snake reptilian brain. It is 5% of the brain, 5% of the tissue. The middle part is called mammalian brain. Cats, dogs, humans, monkeys, we all have mammalian brain. That is where groupism comes. When you're with a political party or with a religious party or with your parents, that's a natural human animal instinct. But where humans excel, where they go exploring, where new ideas come, is in the large part of the brain called cerebrum. So remember, 5%, 10%, 85%. When you get excited and angry or jealous or frustrated, your heart races and the top part of your brain switches off. So can you imagine working only on 15% of your brain? Can you imagine that? But that's what happens. So that's one thing that happens, that your heart is working in a very erratic manner. Your brain has switched off and you make mistakes and you get angry and you leave an aura of anger. You lose friends. you lose money, you make all kinds of mistakes. So when you look at anyone who's a gambler, alcoholic, or any kind of addiction, they are in that phase. So if you get the whole story together, it is very easy to sort it out. I hope you get me, and if you don't, you can always write back. So let's look at the negative side of what happens long term to the individual, to society, to the larger community, to the whole country, to the world. You know, we are responsible only for ourselves. I cannot change you. I can copy someone's good behavior and become like them. So it all starts inside. And the English phrase is, charity begins at home, but self-improvement begins at home. In Russia, there's a saying, if the road is full of snow and you just clean your front yard, everybody does that, the whole street gets clean. So let's not look at others, just look at yourself first. If you're stressed, if you're angry, if you're frustrated, if you don't sleep well, if you eat too much, you have an unhealthy lifestyle, you will suffer physical, emotional, and psychological and spiritual ill health. So that's you as a unit. But you're not a unit. You are connected to your family, your children, your missus, your in-laws, your father, your mother, your neighbors. So how you are affects everyone. So someone who's angry all the time will get into his car and drive to the office. The other one will say, hello, how's life? Just 2 seconds. It doesn't take very much to wish someone well and say, have a good day. It doesn't take much to help someone across the street. These little acts of charity can only happen if your mind is not full of negativity. You can see a better world that you are creating. So I firmly believe that it all starts from an inner position, from our inner mind, from our series which is about inner power. It's about internal dialogue. It's how you talk to yourself. And that we can show you how to improve that. Because if you're happy with the person you see in the mirror, you might be happy with your brother, your sister, your neighbor, and other people of other faiths and other belief systems, other political parties, and you're at peace with yourself. Otherwise, you're constantly saying, he said this, I said that, debating all the time. There is a position for debate, but even in a debate, you can disagree, but you do not have to become disagreeable. You can say very powerful things. I'm sorry, I beg to disagree. End of story. You don't have to carry on fighting and proving your point. Abraham Lincoln said, by arguing, you'll win a point, but lose a friend. And that's a very powerful thing that he said, which I totally agree with. I'd rather lose an argument than lose a good person. So that way, society is together, there's more cohesion. Everyone has a point of view. We are all victims of the family we were born in, the school we went, the faith we are in, the country we are in. We are not such independent creatures, but that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. You can be a good person by looking at these aspects. And I'm trying to convince you that if you look at the inside, the inner engineering, the inner dialogue you're having with yourself, you'll be at much more peace, much richer, much more satisfied, much more creative, and people will come to you for help rather than everyone avoiding you. So it's a great idea if we got rid of negativity and helped you become the true person you're meant to be. I have found that people who come from abroad, particularly us Asians, have a particular bent of competitiveness, of being upset very easily. You'll find that if you worked in an English office, if you do something, oh, that's all right. We take it to heart. We are very emotional people, which has its advantages, but the disadvantages are devastating because things grow in our mind, because we constantly think, why did he say this? He shouldn't have said that. If I were him, I would say that. But as soon as we calm our mind down, let me tell you another point I want to raise. The opposite of negativity is not positivity. Like everyone's rah, I'm going to do this, I'll do this. No, it's just being at peace with yourself. Because when you're at peace with yourself, let me tell you, your conscious mind calms down and your subconscious mind, the inner mind, the real you, the one that is very hard to move and change, the subconscious mind works 40,000 times the speed of the conscious mind. We need the conscious mind, but often the unconscious mind brings stuff up. And it is often very good to pray, to meditate, to learn yoga, to have hobbies. Because, hobbies in a way are like meditation. Think of a footballer who's the best footballer. He, the goal, and the ball become one. He doesn't think if I hit the ball, it will go to the goal. No, it's automatic. You're all good drivers. When you're driving, you don't think, oh, I will change the gear now. It just happens automatically. Similarly, the methods that I'm teaching you in time will help you actually change the way your brain functions, your mind functions, to make you a healthier, happier person. And the other way around is, if you argue and argue and argue, you might get so frustrated, either you'd have strokes, heart attacks, suicide, and God knows what. So when you're secreting adrenaline all the time, you land up making corticosteroids, which is very useful. If you are in a battle and your finger gets cut, you don't feel the pain because you haven't got the time to feel such a small thing as a little finger cut. But in normal life, we get angry. You get an envelope through the letterbox and somebody is asking for tax that you think you don't owe, you get angry. Now, if you took this anger out by going to the taxman and grabbing him by the throat, at least you won't be ill. But we suppress our anger. And this suppressed anger causes diseases, serious diseases, blood pressure, angina, stroke, memory loss, malfunction, accidents, murder, rape. They all happen because of this. If your mind is calmed down, you will not harm your body or society or go to jail or commit suicide. So it is very, very, very important that we look at the antecedents. What are the things that cause this in the long term? If you look at the story of War and Peace, there's lots of little incidents in that which shows that these great authors understood this. They may not explain as a doctor, but they knew that anger doesn't go anywhere. In the old history, Buddha said, if you keep getting angry at somebody else, it's like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. So in a society where people are always angry, competitive, blaming, looking for compensation, instead of letting it be, because society cannot be perfect. There will always be humans, there will always be mistakes. So instead of a blame culture, instead of writing for this and getting angry with that, if the neighbors has closed his door loudly, you get angry and complain, it doesn't make a difference. And often people do not suffer lack of sleep. As a doctor, let me tell you, they suffer from being awake and getting angry and can't sleep. And even the quality of sleep is affected. Let me tell you, there's two types of sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep, where eyes are going like that, and non-rapid eye movement. Non-rapid eye movement looks after the body. In Hindi, they say, ghoda bech ke so gaya, like that kind of sleep. But that is not very good for the mind. It's good for the body. The other thing is people take sleeping tablets, alcohol, and so on. That calms your body down. Your mind is still in distress. The subconscious mind is still dreaming bad dreams. So you come up in the morning having had a very bad, fitful sleep. But if you learn how to relax, if you learn how to let go of negative thoughts, if you learn how to let go even of somebody who dislikes you, instead of being internally affected by it, you live a much longer and happier and more creative life that society you will leave better when you leave Mother Earth.